Hello, this is Mr. Maier, and this is the Chapter 6 supplemental resource for Algebra A. This one is on the Pythagorean Theorem. Do you think that's the correct way to find x? It's clever. It's wrong. It's clever. Here is my man Pythagoras. As you can see, he was made of marble, had no pupils, and I need to do more research on Pythagoras. About 600 BC, I believe. He came up with this theorem. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Pythagorean Theorem. And the crowd goes wild. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. It's so simple, a child could do it. Here's a very definition of the Pythagorean theorem. In a right-sided triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, the legs. Here's a leg, there's a leg, there's the hypotenuse. The value of a squared plus the value of b squared equals c squared. Hypotenuse? What are you talking about, man? Not hippopotamus, not hippocampus, the part of the brain that's supposed to control memory, not Hippocrates, or Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine. We are talking about the hypotenuse. How do you remember that word? That's a really long word on the longest side of the triangle. That seemed to work my whole life. I've pretty much never forgotten it. It's also the only one that's not touching the right angle. It is opposite of the right angle. Hypotenuse. Let's try an example of this. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. There's your a, there's your b, and there's your c, the hypotenuse, okay? In this example, they want you to determine the length of x. X in this case is the hypotenuse. So let's go ahead and do some math. Let's substitute our values into the formula. A squared in this case is 6, or it could be 8. You can switch them out. B squared is 8, and c squared we don't know yet. But we do know that 6 squared plus 8 squared equals 100, because that's 6 squared is 36, 8 squared is 64. 36 and 64 equals 100. Hooray, we have our answer. No, we don't. 100 is not the answer, because that 100 equals x squared. This is where a lot of you are going to get this wrong. You stop at that point. Don't stop there. Is that variable solved yet? No. We're not solved for that variable until it's all by itself. Okay? It's a loner. It's a rebel. You need it by himself. So since it's squared, we need the square root value of it. So that means we get the square root value of 100. In this case, it's a nice round number, 10. The hypotenuse is 10. See? How it's also a longer value than 6 or 8. Okay, let's try another one. Boop. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. In this case, they want you to find the value of what? A leg. We got the hypotenuse, we got one leg, but we ain't got no other leg, okay? So, we know one leg is 24, we know the hypotenuse is 26. We need to solve for that missing value, the other leg. So let's pop them into the formula. 24 squared plus x squared equals 26 squared. Let's do a little math, shall we? 24 squared equals 576. Please have your calculators handy. 26 squared equals 676. Now in algebra, whatever you do to one side, you gotta do to the other. It's only fair. So if you subtract 576 from this side, you gotta subtract it from that side. You end up with x squared equals 100. Is that our answer? Like on the last one, no, it is not. You need to get the square root value of it. And that answer is 10. Every answer you'll ever have for the Pythagorean theorem is 10. Just kidding. That's just the way it's been. Now you do it, my Nino. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Here's your sample. Okay? Go ahead and pause the video, and then when you're ready to go again, hit play. So how'd you do? Okay, we know our formula, and we know our numbers. So all we gotta do is pop them into said formula, right? The legs have a length of 9 and x, and we already got the hypotenuse. Popping them into the formula, you end up with 9 squared plus x squared equals 10 squared. 81 plus x squared equals 100. Subtract 81 from both sides, you end up with x squared equals 19. Most of the time, you're not going to get a nice round number. Do most numbers have a nice round square root? Absolutely not. So just like in real life, you're going to get a decimal point here and there. Okay? So x squared equals 19. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 19 is approximately 4.4. In this case, we round to the 10th. You just round it to whatever value you need to value to. Okay, here's the next one. Boop. Find the length of x. What is x, guys? Is it the hypotenuse or is it a leg? X, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Pause the video, try and do this thing, and check on back, don't ya? So how did you do? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. We have a leg, we have a leg, we got a missing hypotenuse, right? Because that's the longest side, and it's not touching the right angle. Popping in them values, we end up with 14 squared plus 48 squared equals x squared. That's 196 plus 2,304. I do hope you still have your calculator handy. Equals x squared. The square root of 2,500 equals x in this case. In this case, it happens to be a nice round number. It equals 50. We were kind to you this time with the sample. So the length of the hypotenuse is 50. Okay? Mr. Maier's real-life applications. Mr. Maier, algebra is not applicable to real life. We wouldn't have real life without algebra. There, champ. Trust me, math comes in handy in real life if you want to, like, eat and drive and have lights on and stuff like that. And in this case, we're talking about trying to find, say, one of the legs on this right angle triangle. You can use the Pythagorean Theorem. When the fireman, he already knows the length of his ladder. He knows how tall that building is. He needs to figure out, well, how far back do I place this ladder? He's not got a lot of time to mess around and trial and error. The more time he's wasting, the more people are catching fire. We don't need that. So let's try to avoid that and know exactly where to place the ladder so you can get to the floor that's on fire, right? Over here, what about Grandma has a rascal now, and she's trying to get into the house. Well, you know how tall her porch is, right? And you know the point where you need to start the ramp, right, where the sidewalk ends. So you know one leg, you know the other leg. You can go ahead and order the length of the ramp you need because you can use the Pythagorean Theorem to figure out how long the ramp needs to be. Okay? What other real-life applications can you think of? Use your heads. Anytime you think of something with a right angle triangle, think about that. There's lots of applications. Things like bridges and civil engineering and buildings. There's, it's quite useful. And as always, if this was of absolutely no use to you, you can email me, and I can further confuse you there. Or you can check out the online textbook, which has a lot of additional samples and examples. You can go to the web links part of the resources page, which is in our classroom, in our LMS. You can go ask fellow classmates in the quad section of the classroom in our LMS. You can go to the FAQ section, it might be in there. Between the cushions of your couch, perhaps. Read the tarot cards, tea leaves. And remember, always to keep calm and do the Pythagorean Theorem. You'll be just fine. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Maier out.